Cheese on bread. We're back again for another week of the Mobile DJ Mastery Podcast. Me. All right, guys, you lot know how I always bang on about we need to make more money, we need to charge more, we need to do more. There's one thing that we can do to make more money almost instantly, and that's adding upsells to the current packages that you already offer. So today, I thought I would bring in Danny from Double Impact. This guy has so much upsells. He's got so much stuff and different ways of selling things. So DJing is literally probably like 20%. He's got like 80% of other different things that he can sell to then make a much bigger end package. So let's not delay. Let's hear some more stuff and let's roll that VT so we can roll on. Cheese on bread. Hey, Danny, what are you saying, bro, man? Thank you so much for joining me on the Mobile DJ Mastery Podcast. How are you doing, my bro?
Very good, mate. Thanks for asking me to come on.
No, man, no problem. I think there is a lot of information, a lot of tips, a lot of tricks that I think you can help a lot of our listeners with. But before we start, I think it's best for us to start with yourself. Like, introduce yourself. And I really want us to know, like, where you grew up and where was your first inspiration into DJing or music?
Goodness me. Right. Well, I'm Danny from Double Impact Events, and I've been in the entertainment industry for 28 years, full-time for the last 8 years. And I first got a passion from sort of holiday camps, really, going on holiday when I was a little boy and seeing a DJ. You know, I've always loved to do it, and I was very fortunate that I got a job on a holiday camp where I got to do DJing and singing and acting and all kinds of holiday red coat style stuff. And so when I left there, I decided to start my own karaoke business. This is where it first started, just doing karaoke, and it's kind of evolved from there.
And how old is you when you started doing the karaoke? Like, how young? Is this really young? How old is you?
Well, I'm 46 now. Mm-hmm. And I started when I was about 17, but professionally when I was 18.
Okay. So it was like basically that from, you're saying your first involvement, influence into getting into the DJing thing, it's been at the holiday camps when they're all doing the singing and dancing and the shows and all that kind of stuff. That was your first inspiration.
Yeah. That's the first time I saw it and thought, wow, this is great. Mm-hmm. If you can earn money doing this, fantastic. And I've always done it.
And what was you doing around that time? If you was thinking about obviously making money, what was you doing at that time to make money?
Yeah, so I've always been in sales, selling cars, houses, telephone lines. I've always been in a sales role. Predominantly estate agents was my sort of full-time, long-term career. Went into number plates and stuff like that later on. But yeah, always been in sales, but always had a weekly gig. Always done my friends' parties, family parties, weddings. Always been Disco Danny, if you like. So I've done it for many years.
Many years as Disco Danny. And funnily enough, as you guys are all going to see, if you check, obviously we've got his tags in the show notes. He's not called Disco Danny no more. It's called Double Impact Events. Now, one of the main reasons, Danny, that I wanted to get you on this pod today is to talk about, like, I'm really trying, with the Mobile DJ Mastery podcast, I'm trying to show DJs as much as I can about different ways of mobile DJing, different styles, different techniques, different things to learn. And one of the main things I want a lot of our community to get is how to earn more money, how to up their bottom line income. And one thing I see that you do is that you are like the king of upsells. You have so many extras, and I know this has come over time, but you have so many extras, so many different ways of how your company is able to generate the income that it does. And let's talk to me a bit more about the transition from Disco Danny to Double Impact Events.
Cool. It's a bit of a long story, but I'll give you a bite-sized chunk. So I've always been known as Disco Danny. And I had some time with a branding specialist who said to me, look, I wouldn't be employing a Disco Danny to do my wedding. So we created Double Impact Events. And so from that point, I was known as Disco Danny from Double Impact Events.
Okay.
And it rolled from there. So the website, was all branded. I've got some business cards made up, you know, letterheads and stuff like that. I think I even had some mugs and cups and badges and whistles. If I could put my logo on it, it went on it. And yeah, and that's basically what we did. And we started to go out more as a branded company. So I would approach hotels, anywhere that had any kind of entertainment, leave my business card, follow up a few days later, try and get an appointment with the manager, and that's kind of how I got into the hotels, some of which I still look after now, over 20 years later. So yeah, so with the upselling of stuff, it was really straightforward and appeared to be a no-brainer for me. The very first upsell item that I introduced to my business
Yep.
was uplighting. And
Okay.
how that come about was I was setting up at a venue, a couple of speakers, DJ booth, nothing too big, but I was there for about an hour setting up. And this guy bowled in with a bag, okay? He came in, I was setting up. I didn't really notice pretty much what he was doing, but he was sort of dotting about. And then he come over and went, "Holy mate," he said, "do us a favour." He said, "Can you turn the power on that switch when you start, and when you finish, just flick it off?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And he disappeared.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before I started, I flicked it on, and the room just lit up. Beautiful. And anyway, he came back just after midnight. The lights were all off, you know, as he asked me to do. And I said to him, "Wow, you know, that's great." I said to him, how much did you charge for that? Now, bearing in mind, I was charging at the time 150 quid for my disco, and I was there for about 5 hours, not including setting up, gig time.
150 quid, Danny. Wow.
And he charged £250
Oh my God.
to light the room. Okay. So I was like, right, okay. So that's where that seed was planted.
100%.
So I then bought some uplighting, and I included it in my wedding package as an extra, and I charge an extra £100 to put all the uplighting out. And if I needed to negotiate, I said, "Look, listen, I'll do your uplighting for 50 quid, you know," and 9 times out of 10, that would help me get the gig. And again, I could tell you the scenario, but to save time, same with the photo booth, same with all my add-ons. You know, I see a supplier coming in, or I look at something and think, "Oh, you know, could I put that in my van and it not take too long to set up?" You know, that's the key thing, because ultimately my main business is DJing, and that's what takes the time. So yeah, so we've got post box, and then I see another post box. So we have 2 or 3 post boxes, and light up ones, traditional ones, you know, vintage ones, and you kind of keep buying these little things that can just be placed on the van as an addition that take no time to set up, but they either earn you extra money or they help you secure the disco, the main event. And that's basically how that's my business model now. So that's why my pricing isn't too high. I'm certainly not the cheapest DJ out there, but I'm by far not the most expensive. And I do that because I want to sell a reasonably priced service. I believe everybody, no matter what your budget is, I believe everybody deserves the right to party and have a celebration. Okay, so if your budget is very, very, very small, then you can have a speaker, a stand, a gig bar, and a lead to plug your phone in. You know, right from that to a high-end event, and I'll cater for everything in between. But that's why I tend to keep things reasonable, because then they're more the clients are more inclined to add a bolt-on to your service because your DJ, your initial price is reasonable. So that's why all my prices on my website are a from price. So they stay the same. All the prices stay the same. But obviously my travel, there are other ways for me to up my basic disco. When you start to introduce travel, you know, you can if you want to. I don't personally, but if I need to, you can charge for setup time, breakdown time. You know, I don't do that as a rule. But if it's just the disco that's going in place with no upsell, I still go out for the money that I want to achieve. So yeah, so that's how the add-ons come about, and then obviously the game changer was the draping and the chair covers. Now that does take time.
Yes, it definitely does.
But the fee reflects the time.
Yeah. I can imagine that. Do you know what I wanted to ask you as well, Danny? When you were saying about the first inspiration that you got into the upsell, when the guy came, he set up the lights, told you to flip the switch on and off, and you heard that he was charging $250. So with other people, with others, they might be like, okay, I'm going to offer exactly what that person was offering, and I'm going to charge close or exactly the same that he was charging. How come you chose to go down a different route and charge a little less than he was charging?
Because I'm going back when uplighting was wired.
Yes, yeah.
And it was a lot more intense, a lot harder. I mean, these days, you know yourself, everything's wireless. It's much easier to use now. But the reason I didn't want to be the same or more expensive was because I don't know if everyone else does this, but when I do something, I look at it and I ring the guy, I get the price, and then I will look to see if I can find that cheaper somewhere else.
Okay.
And if I can, I'm not saying I'll always go with the cheaper one, but I will always research the market to make sure that I'm getting value for money and I'm not paying too much.
Yeah.
So if the DJ that you're booking for your party can offer you the uplighting at a slightly less price, they're more inclined to go with me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get the disco and the uplighting. It doesn't make financial sense for them for a client to outsource the uplighting for an extra £100 on top of what they can get it from me. So and I kind of kept that theme running all the way through in my business model. Now, if you book the uplighting on its own, it's a lot more expensive.
Okay.
Everything that I offer is slightly discounted if you take the main core product, which is the disco. My aim is always to get the disco in, and then everything else filters on top of that.
An extra, yeah.
Yes, that will be slightly discounted. I don't always discount it, but if I need to, or I want to, or to fit the client's budget, I will do that. Because ultimately, I'm there as the DJ, earning the money that I need to earn for that night.
Okay.
Anything else that goes on the band, to me, is an added extra. If I'm there anyway, the worst thing I want to do is turn up, set my disco up, and then all of a sudden I see the photo booth come in, I see the post box come in, I see the draping guy come in. I'm thinking, what? I'm thinking that's money I've lost. Yeah?
Yeah, I heard that.
And my team haven't earned. You know, if somebody else comes in and does the draping, that's one member of staff that hasn't earned because I've not asked a question and I've not secured that booking. So I offer my clients everything I possibly can at the first phone call, not to try and upsell as such, but to try to make them aware of what I can offer them so they don't book that somewhere else. They have the option to book it with me first. And I've had it before where the clients haven't taken my photo booth and they haven't taken my post box. They've gone somewhere else.
Yeah, but they've still taken your disco.
That's fine because I've offered it to them, you know, and that's cool, you know.
Okay, so do you know what? It's funny. So you're saying you've got uplighting, you've got photo booth, you've got inflatable indoor photo booth, you've got draping, you've got staging, you've got. Is there anything I'm missing, Danny? Because I know you've probably got like post box letters.
Yeah, we do the light up letters, light up numbers. We do chair covers with sash. Yeah, we own quite a lot of stuff and
quite a lot of stuff. Yeah.
The stuff that's required from us, if we don't own it, we've got close partners that do own it. So if somebody wants something specific and I'm not stocking it in one of my facilities, then I can always get a preferential rate from a good friend of mine to ensure the price stays low. And I go to that same person for the same thing every time.
And would you say, like, obviously, when you first got into it, going back to the Redcoats Entertainment, the things that inspired you into DJing, did you ever think to yourself, like, was the plan ever was it like to DJ and to own all of this stuff? Or it sounds like it's kind of just like happened over time.
No, it wasn't. My main plan was to get 4 gigs a week.
And what was the 4 gigs a week? And why was it? Why did you need why specifically 4 gigs a week?
Well, to be a full-time DJ, I think you need to be out more than once or twice a week. You need to equate the hours that would warrant a full-time income, not so much time. So what I did was I made sure that I had, first of all, it was a Friday and Saturday night and alternate Sundays. That's when I left my job. Okay. Then obviously the time I was spending at work earning money for other people, I was then able to spend that time on my business. And that's where the contacting hotels, conference centres, theme parks, casinos, anywhere where there's amplified music, schools. I mean, I went absolutely everywhere, and the hard work for about 12 months started to pay off in the next year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I had my 4 gigs a week, pay around the £200 mark when I first started, and those events are now up. Some of them are up to £400 because they've
Okay.
been built. They've been built, and they're now an established good night. So over the years, the price has gone up slowly. But once I had my 4 gigs, I then was able to earn the money that I needed to survive, pay my bills. It was a very small, you know, I was living hand to mouth. I wasn't buying luxury items. I was working those 4 days a week to survive, basically.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I could see that I was able to do it, and this was real money that was coming in, and I was having to be responsible for money management and tax and my own accountancy alongside everything else, the promotion of the business, to making sure the vehicles are running, making sure everything's all good. This was all a massive learning curve for me. But once the more you do it, the easier it gets. But
Yeah.
where it changed for me was all of a sudden on this Friday night, I would have a wedding come in. Okay, a wedding. So I'm like, wow. So then I started to put local DJs into my Friday night to allow me to go and earn what at the time was £300. And the guy that was doing the gig for me only charged me £150.
So there was
So
a
I was
easy,
able,
nice profit margin there. Lovely.
I was able to make £50 on my residency plus the money. And that basically is all my company is now. So now we have 5 residencies a week. Sorry, 4 residencies a week and 1 alternate. And 90% of the time, those residencies are maintained by the guys that I use to maintain them. I will only go back into one of those residencies if I haven't got an event to do. And I try to make sure that I do at least one every month or 2 in the residency, just to make sure everything's running smoothly,
Yeah,
the managers
yeah.
are okay. And sometimes I will take a Saturday night off, and I'll drive around the residencies just to make sure the guys are smart, they're not on their phones.
Good, 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 good,
Just to
good.
network a little bit, and I do that sporadically throughout the year. But it's important not to lose sight of those residencies. It's easy to forget them because they're not as good money as what you're used to earning. But in January, February, and March, when things are sly,
That's when
those are the
they
guys
start to
that are
come
there for
in.
you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They're the guys that look after you. So for me now, in the slower months, they're not slower months because I'm still working 4 or 5 nights a week, but I'm able to plan for the future with the draping, and we're doing sort of different events, boxing events and presentation events, comedy clubs and stuff like that just require draping.
Yep,
That
yep.
stuff happens January, February, March. So we're still busy, but when I come home in the afternoon, I'm then getting ready to go to my residency, where it's regular people, and I kind of finesse the business in that way. So I make sure that I look after their social media for them. I look after their posters for them.
Oh, wow.
But they're paying me good money now to look after their pub, and they trust my judgment. They allow me to do my garage nights, my house nights, my reggae nights, theme nights, pajama parties, glow parties, just to mix it up a little bit for the public, so it's not the same
It's
disco
not the
or the
same
same
old stuff. Yeah, 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 of
every
course.
week. And I have the rapport with these managers now that it's worth giving it time and attention, because these are the venues that are gonna hook you up when things go quiet. Weddings aren't all year round. You might get a sporadic one, but like now we're doing back-to-back weddings all of last month
Yeah,
and
it's
this month
crazy at the
and
moment.
next month. But that does stop. And when it does, you need to make sure that you've put the homework in and put the effort into your residencies to make sure that they're still there for you. Some of my residencies I've had for 20 years.
Wow, 20 years, bruv.
Yeah. We've got one where I met my wife, actually, and that's knocking on 11 years now, and that's just our local pub up the road. And I've gone through different managers, different holding companies, changes of staff, changes of management. Yeah, if you maintain your professionalism and you make an appointment to speak to the new manager, you tell them what you've done, what you've achieved in this pub, you know each manager has gone, Danny, that's fine, as you were.
Yeah, just continue because like we don't want to.
Carry
Yeah,
on.
it's working. It's working.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
broken. We don't want to fix it, you know. Oh yeah. I feel I'm digressing.
Nice. No. That's perfect. I think 20 years, Danny. I've never heard of anyone having a residency for 20 years. If anyone can beat that, please leave your name in the chat.
If I looked at if I looked through the archive, it might even be longer than that. But yeah, you know, a lot of my residencies are even the residencies that are short term have turned into 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, that's wow. I think when I was doing residencies, I think the longest residency I had was for, I think it was like 14 months, 15 months. That was the maximum.
But that's the average lifespan. But I think when this is your full-time business and you haven't got a backup plan, a plan B,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how important that residency becomes to you. And this is why I have access to their Facebook page, so I can put my posts on and I can do my own stuff on their Facebook. And this is why I create, print, laminate, and send the posters to the venues. And this is why I do this. I become a part of their team that they can't do
you're like
without.
the events. You're the events coordinator.
You know?
You're the one that does
and
it.
I know that some DJs may or may not agree with this, but when they need a band, they phone me. I book a band for them. I don't make any money on it, but they trust my judgment. They trust if I recommend a band, they're going to book the band.
Yeah.
And I think having a relationship like that, even to the peril of my own night, you know, if they want an event on a night and it falls on mine, I don't work that night. They got a band on that night, you know, but I never mind about that. It's looking at the whole picture.
No, and I think, like you were saying, that's the profession. That's where the professional person comes in, because when that person's like, me, I want to play. No, but what about me? I want to be DJ. No, I don't want to book a band. Me. That's the unprofessional standpoint, especially like you're saying, like, you know, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12, 20 years. This is where that mindset comes into it. It's not always about you. It's not always about you being like the headline of the place, because you've done that many a Saturdays, many a times with your own events and stuff like that. Every now and then you'll give that shine to, like you're saying, the band, and it won't really bother you too much. But I think that's more of your professionalism, to be fair.
But it works. It's a tried method and it works. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could sit here talking about how successful things are and how, but you know, there's been some dark times. There's been some hard times and tough times in this industry. You know, especially when COVID hit. You know, I had no plan B.
That's a really good point, actually. If we could quickly explore that, because like someone like yourself, there was no support, Danny, at the time. Like government wasn't doing any, and you had all the stuff. Like, obviously, I know you've gained more stuff since then, but even 4 years ago, you had lots and lots of stuff. There was no one hiring it. How did you manage? How did you survive?
We were so lucky. So again, you know, I watched my bank account go from, I'll say, moderate, and I watched it go all the way down, which it does every month. But then it goes back up, and then it goes back down. I just watched it go all the way down, and even thinking about it now, it is horrific for me.
Yeah, of course.
But we were very lucky, and the reason we were lucky was my wife was furloughed, so she maintained about $1,000 or so a month, and we used that money to pay our rent. Yeah. And at the time, because the way this industry, and it isn't like this now, I've put measures in place to make sure that this never happens again to us.
100%.
And a family. But, you know, like my car, lovely car, 30 grand, beautiful car, it's my dream car. Now, I could go down to the car dealership and buy that car for 30 grand, thank you. But no, because our business is weekly paid, fortnightly paid, monthly paid, and also paid on the night, it was easier for me to pay £350 a month for that car rather than lose 30 grand out of the account.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So that's one scenario there, okay? Now, that was the same with the van. That was the same with the lockup at the time. We were renting a lockup. So when you put all those eggs into that basket and all of a sudden have your money taken away, you stand to lose your car, your van, your house.
Your lockup, everything. Yeah, everything's going. Yeah.
So we managed to pay the rent with Jade's furlough. The car people said, Danny, we know what's going on in the world. No problem. We'll stop it here. No
Oh,
interest or anything.
fantastic. Wow,
A lot of
that's
companies were
amazing.
like that. And I qualified for the maximum government grant.
Okay.
So we got a couple of 7 grand here and there, then another 7 grand, then a 6 grand, then a 7. So obviously we had that money, and we borrowed £20,000 on a bounce back loan.
Oh,
Now
jeez.
with that £20,000, I was able to pay off the finance on the van, so I now owned that. They can't take my van away from me.
Yeah.
And I set up another company, which is another conversation. But I set up a window cleaning company, and that window cleaning company kept me ticking over through lockdown, and it made sure that I could put a bubble around my business and my family, and that's what we did, and we coasted through. Because you've got to remember, we were the first industry to lose employment,
Yep.
and we were the last industry to come back.
Yes.
So what
Yeah.
I did was I took everything that I was entitled to and used that very carefully, and we were able to maintain it. Excuse me. So now we purchased a house that's got a long enough garden for me to be able to put my own storage in my garden. So
Yeah.
I have a yard now at home.
So no more lockup.
No more lockup. I own all my vehicles outright.
All vehicle. No more HPs. No more hide purchases. No more finance.
And when we made the last payment on the car, I would normally take that down and swap it for a nice new shiny one. but that always incurred another payment. So this time round, we drove the car back down to the dealership, and we extended the warranty, and we kept the car.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lovely car. Yes, I want a bigger, faster, nicer, more expensive car, but I want paper in my bank more than I want
The car.
a nicer, newer, shinier car.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think, I mean, touch wood, I like to think that with nothing's forever, and nothing is, if somebody takes your income away, then you're in trouble no matter how many provisions you've got in place.
Yeah,
But I like to
100.
think now that if we ever get hit with another pandemic or something like that, we've got the window cleaning, which I still maintain. I still work that job and still earn money from that job, not as much as I was doing through lockdown, but I still maintain an income from that. And everything that I can possibly afford to own, I own it. So it can't be taken away. And I think for me, that's what it's all about, is preserving your business and making sure that nobody can take it away.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way of thinking about it, because I know, like, since lockdown, a lot of people's mindsets have kind of thought of ways that they can do that to make sure that doesn't happen. Because lucky, like you're saying, you was lucky you was able to survive. As I'm sure you know, Danny, a lot of entertainment companies perished around that time.
And it was surviving as well.
Literally.
Seriously, it wasn't easy.
I can imagine. I can imagine, man. I can imagine, bro. But we're on the other side, and we're still doing well, so that's the good thing. All right, Danny. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is that obviously when I first met you, when I first saw you, I found you on TikTok, and oh my days, for a DJ, a mobile DJ at that, you've got a massive following, bro. Like you're almost at 1 million, or maybe you've gone over 1 million. So, and I don't know any mobile DJ that's kind of like done that. So, like, what did you do to kind of like get that? What was it? What was the buzz? What was it?
I got very, very lucky.
Okay.
At lockdown, so I posted. I used to have bouncy castles in my company, and we sold the bouncy castles to make room for the draping, because obviously 160 meters of fabric times 2 is a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
So something had to give, and it was the bouncy castles. But I posted a video on TikTok, which was an install that we did, and it was in there for the 6 weeks holiday. It ended up being in there for about 10 weeks. And there was a change of management at the time. And again, this is me not being on the ball as I should be. You know, I was getting the money from head office every week. So I didn't bother, what's what it is. You know, if they have it for 10 weeks, they've got to pay for 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 11 weeks. Anyway,
It is what it is, yeah.
When I was told that the pub had no more management to go down and collect the castle, that was when I realised that they hadn't blown the castle up for like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was like a pond liner on the floor. And there was trees all around it. So all the leaves bird muck. You know, there was soil in it. You know, so we blew this thing up and it was absolutely sodden. And I recorded it, and it was an old video, and I posted it. Now, that video went viral. And as a result of that, I got lots of followers. I got lots of likes and shares and comments. And so as a result of that one video, TikTok then asked me if I wanted to be on their creator fund. And I needed to make some small improvements to my numbers to meet the criteria to do that.
Yeah.
So I just did like off-key stuff, you know, like sort of clickbaity stuff, you know, hit follow if you like this, hit like and share if you like this. Very short format videos, but they're done very well. They were engaging. I did stuff like, you know, so I see all people on TikTok going viral. So here's me opening a lollipop, cutting the top off and having a bite. Let's go viral. Stupid stuff like that.
But it was going viral.
But it was going viral. Yeah, you know, it was short form. People liked it. I've done some funny stuff with the kids and played some pranks on Jade and just done really random
And this was
content.
during lockdown. Are you saying this is during
When everyone was locked into TikTok.
Oh, right.
Everybody was locked into TikTok. It was short form, which meant I was getting a good retention rate, a good watch rate. And then when lockdown finished and the world started calming down, that sort of content wasn't working anymore because there was less viewers, there was less retention span, and my numbers went right down and everything started. So the advice that I was given from other TikTokers that I've become friends with was saying, Danny, listen, mate, you know, you've got a great job. You need to start documenting your job and your life. And that's when what I call polished content came from.
Started to come out where that's what we see now when you're talking us
What
doing
you
the
see now, that's
walkthroughs.
when I changed from, oh my God, I've got to get likes, I've got to get followers. You know, my main purpose on TikTok was to get more followers so I could earn more money on TikTok, and I could, you know, my attitude went from that to, okay, so people can actually watch my videos and I can be interactive and I can help people, and people started asking me questions about the setup and how much I charge, and that's when the content took a turn to what you see now. And it's the content I like making, you know. I enjoy, and some videos are even tailored for people that have asked me questions. You know, I've had a few people saying, oh, how do you do your draping, how does it work?
Yeah,
So
how does it work, how does it set up?
on how I do that, you know, and I love it. I really enjoy it.
And you can definitely see that. And I'm going to urge anyone listening to this, if you are a mobile DJ, you have to follow Danny. His link is inside the show notes. His TikTok literally walks you through what he does. Before we done this recording, I was telling Danny about how much when I see a post from Danny, I watch it because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something. Whether you do draping, you don't do draping, you do lights, photo booth, DJ, whatever it is you do, Danny, you literally take us when it's behind the scenes. Your behind the scenes is behind the scenes. Like, you're with me. This is what we do. This is how we put up staging. We're going to put the legs in. Then we're going to flip it up. Then we're going to cover this. There's a hole there. We're going to use our draping. Like, I think your content is so informative. And yeah, I love it because, once again, some of the stuff that you do, I don't do, but I still find it super interesting. Do you know what I mean? So I would urge anyone here, like, watching, to definitely go and have a look, because you're going to learn something as a mobile DJ for sure. One question I do have, Danny, is that in the lockdown times of TikTok and being paid, a lot of people here would love to hear, what was your biggest payment from TikTok when it was the best of this best times?
It's difficult to... well, there's one video that's still trending now, believe it or not.
Wow.
Every time I go into because it's very short form, it's the language is universal on it. You don't need to understand it. You just need to watch it, and that is a big lightning bolt that comes down and hits the sea, and I put like a lightning sound effect behind it. It's at like 17.1 million views at the moment, and every time I go onto my analytics, it's always being viewed. The comments are in all different languages.
Wow.
It just resonates with TikTok, and I can't tell you what I've been paid because I don't know.
Okay,
but that video is definitely responsible for multiple £1,000s.
Multiple thousands. There you go, guys.
Without a doubt.
So easily £3,000, easily.
More than £3,000, yeah, I'd say.
Okay.
Because the way it's easier now since it's changed to the TikTok Creator Fund that we know and love now. Now you can see what videos paid you what, the retention. Back when that video was made,
It was more so just
you
your
were either
channel,
getting
what your
paid on it
channels.
or you weren't.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can tell you what I've been paid on all of my videos exactly to the penny on recent stuff. But the older stuff, it's a lot more difficult to do that. But what I can say is I gained a lot of followers from that video. People waiting for the next big video that I'm going to do. So, but those followers, they diminish because those people don't want to see me behind the scenes doing stuff. So I'm finding the followers I've been getting over the last few years are organic people that are interested in me, my family, my life, my work. They want,
Yeah.
they're interactive. So the followers that I'm getting now and have been for the last couple of years, they're true hardcore followers, and
Yeah.
they're invested in what I do. When I put something on TikTok Shop, they buy it if I recommend it. And those are the sort of followers that you want, that interact with you and they care about you. I've had inboxes from my followers saying, "Is everything okay? Because I haven't posted for a week."
Okay. Okay.
Which shows you the
They're
followers that we're
invested.
getting
They're
now.
invested now to you and what
Yeah,
you're
and they
doing.
care about you, and that's what keeps me making the videos. I don't look at the views and the likes, and now I make a video for what it is and I put it out because I know people want to watch it. But back in the day, I was more interested in followers, likes, comments,
Yeah.
shares,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
now it's more organic now, and I enjoy doing
Authenticity.
it.
Be real. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
authentic, yeah. Because people can see through the stuff where you're just trying to get views. So that's why I've started doing my real talks and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
a lot of my followers say, "Danny, listen, it's great seeing. We want to. How old are you?
Yeah.
How many
Yeah. Yeah.
children do you have? So I started doing these real talks, and I'm getting a really good
Response on them.
response. Yeah.
Oh well, and I think that's amazing. I think it's good that you was able to ride that wave, and I'm sure that helped during the hard times of lockdown, as we was talking about with the company and whatever happened. So it was probably came in at such a sweet time to be like, okay, well, that's kind of closed down, but I'm able to now get my phone out. I've done some stuff of your business, like you're saying, to blow up the bouncy castles and whatnot, and then like just some of the viral clips, and that started to work. So that works, and even more better now. Like I'm saying for myself, watching your channel, definitely. Like I love the fact that you are so transparent on your channel, especially for DJs that are learning the craft, and even like with most of the people that listen to this podcast, Mobile DJ Mastery, you, in my opinion, are like a perfect person to follow, to watch your come follow me as I set up for this gig. You set it up, you show us how you do it, you tell us how much you charge. The transparency is at this world. So yeah, man, I just wanna congratulate you for that, and please continue it, man, because even though I'm hoping that people are in there giving you your props, but yeah, that is like for the DJ community. You know how there's a lot of us that advocate for the DJ community, and what you put out, man, big fan. So keep it going. Make sure you follow, guys. Lots to learn on Danny's channel. All right, we're going to move on ever so swiftly. So, once again, this is the Mobile DJ Mastery Podcast. We want to give people, especially the ones that are early in or sort of like up in their levels in the game and trying to earn a bit more money on their overall DJ bookings when they're doing mobile gigs. So, Danny, for a brand new DJ who's just not a brand new DJ, someone who's maybe been gigging for a couple of years, they've got the usual setup, your standard, maybe 2 movers, 2 speakers, their controller, they've got the standard setup. For their first or 1 or 2 upsells that they can put in their car, because I know you spoke a lot about the van and you've got a massive lockup, but thinking about the guy that's early on, hasn't got a lockup, he owns a Ford Fiesta, he can put all of his kit in there. What else do you think he can add into his Ford Fiesta that will help earn him more money while he's working?
Okay. Ford Fiesta sized car, uplighting. Straight away, the very first thing that you need to do is do uplighting. I mean, it's a complete game changer. Not only can you charge more money while you're DJing, it's also a separate entity. So I very often, just last week, I went and uplit a Chinese restaurant that just opened. It just opened. They're after some uplighting. So once you've purchased your uplighting, put it into your package, put it as a separate package, and make sure that it's in your description. Make sure you're talking about it. Make sure you're showcasing it. Because these guys found my uplighting on Google. They just typed in Uplighting Milton Keynes, and up I popped. So
Okay.
nothing. They weren't interested in anything else. They've got their own music sorted out. They've got
Yep.
everything all sorted out. They just wanted uplighting. So, and that's what they did. If your Ford Fiesta has enough room and you could put the front seat down and move it forward, get a selfie pod.
Okay.
Okay. And in this day and age, they are almost disposable. There are so many companies out there now that do an empty shell, and all you do is you put your iPad in there, and you can download an app, a basic, even a free app, onto your iPad, and that will give you the facility to do a selfie pod. Now, you're not going to be able to charge as much for your selfie pod as you can for a photo booth or a photo mirror, but it's still an upsell that doesn't need managing. It's something you plunk in, you plug it on, little bit of prep work at home, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you want to, plug it in, and that's extra money. So that's where you go from a £200 DJ to a £600 events company, essentially, because you're providing more than one
You're
service.
providing more than just one service, for sure.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was the game changer. Game changer.
And that was
so
that sounds like
uplighting,
that's
selfie pod.
uplighting, selfie pod. So for all DJs, if you haven't got and you're trying to up your bottom line, you're thinking what to do, add in some simple upsells to your company, and then just like Danny said, uplighting, photo booth, that can definitely drive up your bottom end, whatever it is you're charging. You can go from, like you were saying, from 200, 300, 400
And
to
also,
500,
let me
600, 700,
just
800.
add another thing before I forget. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Because of the way the market's gone now, with everything being battery operated,
Yeah.
that has driven the price down of your cabled uplighting. So you can pick up 12 uplighters for about 200 or 300 quid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you've got to plug them in. It's going to take a bit of time, but even if they're wired uplighting, they produce the same effect as battery powered, and they get you going. And you can charge the same money for wired uplighting as you can for wireless.
Wireless,
So
yeah.
don't be put off by looking at these lights. I mean, like yourself, and a lot of other DJs, we've all invested in high-end battery-powered lights, but that's because we can.
Yeah, to start with.
Get those wired lights. I've got wired uplighting, that I still bring out every now and again if we need to exceed what we've got battery power-wise. But the market's saturated now with wired uplighting. My advice would be, go get some.
Because you can get it for really cheap, as you're saying, like some of the wired stuff as well. Because it's maybe everyone's buying the battery stuff, you can probably get the wired stuff for such a cheap entry price. And like you're saying, still hire it out for the same price as a battery.
And there are
the main
companies
thing
out
we're
there.
talking about, yeah, and they'll do it. And the main thing we're talking about here is earning more on your bottom end. If you're going out and you're doing a birthday party and you're doing 300-400 quid, if you bring some uplights, you might be going from 400 to maybe 450, 550, 650. If you've got a photo pod in there as well, who knows? You might be able to just do $1,000 for the lights, the photo booth, and your
If you
DJ
haven't
set.
got the money, if you haven't got the money to buy these, there are companies out there that will hire them to you on a dry hire. So yes, you've got to go pick them up. Yes, you've got to put them out and pack them away. Yes, you've got to take them back. But for you to hire them, you'll be able to hire them for less money than you charge the client. So you can still make 50 or 60 quid, maybe even 100 quid,
Maybe
by
more,
not
yeah.
even owning those lights. What I'm trying to say is introduce them. Take the time to put them out, and you will be able to charge for it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think some people might hear that and think it's a lot of work, but it's part of the grind, and it's just how you grow, isn't it? Like everyone starts from somewhere. Every DJ started in a bedroom or in a dingy pub or wherever it is they came up from. That's where they come up from. It's those kind of stories. And I think you learn a lot, like you were saying, going to someone else and hiring from someone else, setting them up yourself, seeing kind of what works. You start to learn, maybe I'm going to move the lights this way. Do you know what? I'd need a remote control to change the colors. Maybe I need to look into DMXing. Like it's all of those little things that sort of get you up to a better place. And I think it's good as well about, like you were saying about, contacting another company, because another thing you could do is maybe partner up. If you're a brand new DJ, maybe you can partner up with someone who's a bit more established that you can bring in and maybe cut a little bit off the top where you might,
They'll be more than happy to help as well. I think
they'll
in this
be happy
industry,
to help.
we're all a similar mindset,
Yeah, and it builds that network. You now have another person who might recommend you. You recommend them. You're trading off up. Yeah, when you recommend me, 50 quid, whatever it may be, we'll do the same. If we start doing it a lot for each other, I'll just recommend you for free. You recommend me for free. We're all kind of winning at the same time. So, yeah, man, that is the best way to go about it, man. All right, Danny, last question before we go. I know you're a family man, and I know you're a busy man. Tell us, how do you balance the whole work, family, kids, family, business,
Got easier.
drapes?
It's got easier.
And what would you say has made it easier?
I have an admin day.
Okay. Is that weekly, monthly? When do you do that?
Every single Monday when I wake up, and Monday is also my day off, right?
Yeah.
So what I do is I wake up on a Monday, I sit down and I answer emails that I've not been able to answer during the week, or make phone calls that I promised myself to make, invoicing, quotes, all that sort of stuff. Monday is my admin day, and then when I finish that admin day, the rest of the day is my own. So Monday is admin day and family day. Now, if I do that admin day, that frees up the days during the week that I would normally be doing admin.
All right.
So I get to pick Logan up from school. I get to go shopping with Jade. I get to do all the family stuff in the daytime. Monday, admin day, has changed the way that my business and work life coincide. You know, if I'm out doing something, normally I'd answer the phone straight away. Yep, sorry, you know, yep, and I'd stop my life while I'm on the phone. Now, if I'm doing something with the children, I've got a preset button that I push that will say, unfortunately, I can't take your call, please use the details. And then I will send a text message. And if I can't talk to them straight away, I will schedule a call for Monday.
Because you know Monday's your admin day, your time day, you can
And
sort
when you
out.
schedule a call for somebody there's two people. There's two ways this can go, okay? And I've found it nearly always works in my favour. If you tell somebody you're going to call them on Monday, make sure you call them on Monday, because that's when they're expecting you to call them, and that's when they're ready to talk to you. I'm ready to talk to them on that Monday, okay? And the other person, when you phone them on Monday, I've already got it booked. I booked it with DJ Best Price, and it cost me this much money. That's not the client for me.
No, yeah, 100%.
The client that, you know, ring, that's the client that's going to go with the cheapest. That's the client that's going to, you know, that's going to be price driven. So I find 9 times out of 10, if you could deal with the inquiry straight away on the phone, I always do. But if I'm spending time with Jade, if I'm spending time with the family, if I'm having a meal or I'm doing something and I can't answer, I will always schedule that call to be made on the Monday. Or later on in that day. I've just given my family more time now.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. I think a lot of people can kind of forget that, because you get so caught up in chasing the bag. Obviously, some of us got different places in life and whatever, and especially if you're new, that can be quite hard, because you're getting up on your feet. You don't want to miss any bookings. Like you're grafting hard, and sometimes you can maybe neglect some of the family and friends
There are
time.
tools in place for that not to be an issue now. You know, one button, one touch, even auto. My emails, you know, bam, if they email, they get a response straight away. You know, I think you need to remember why you're working.
Yes.
Why are
100%.
you working?
Why are you doing this for? And it's more time for you. Yeah, you're working for your family. You're working to make sure that, so there's no point neglecting them to make sure you can chase the work, because that doesn't actually make any sense.
So I make sure I get holidays now as well, you know. Not everyone's in a position to be able to do this, and I'm not saying, you know, I've done my days of working 7 days a week. I'm in a very fortunate position now where I can pick and choose the work I do, and I can pick and choose the time I take off, because I'm the boss, and that's how it works. But I've done my fair share of working. You know, when I got with Jade, she knew that I was a DJ. She knows that I run an events company. She knows how my life works. So Jade is very forgiving. You know, for things like now, I'm doing a podcast. I've got to be on, like, you know, can you look after? Yep. You know, because she makes sacrifices for me to be able to do my job, and I make sacrifices for her
when it's time to do
her, to be a family unit. And sometimes that means answering a call and putting that call off for a couple of days until I can deal with it. I think that's just as important as doing a good job on a disco.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Great stuff. Great stuff, man. Danny, thank you so much, man, for joining me on this episode. Guys, I hope... Yeah, we did it. We made it happen. I hope you guys got something from this, man. Remember, some of the quick take homes is uplightings. If you haven't got yourself some uplights and you're a DJ, definitely get them if you can. Look into either getting them wired ones for cheap, partner up with a second company, or if you do have the penny, go and grab your own battery powered operated ones. And a selfie pod, which is the iPad's photo booths, are a great upsell as well. So yeah, man, great tips. Thank you, Danny. Bro, any last words before you leave? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say?
Last words. Firstly, thank you for inviting me to come on. I really appreciate it, and I enjoy your podcasts.
No problem.
Secondly, anybody watching this, if you want to reach out to me for any advice, hints, tips, I'm always happy to help fellow DJs. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Well, guys, man, just like he said, I'm going to put all of his links inside the show notes. Make sure you give Danny a follow. I'm telling you, DJs, you're going to learn something from his behind-the-scenes video. So transparent. I don't know if there's anyone as transparent online as Danny has at the moment. So, yeah, man, definitely go and check that out. Have a look. Danny, man, I will see you at another time, the same place, something else or something else whenever I do see you, bro. But thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I'll catch up with you soon.
Stay lucky. Cheers.
All right, nice one, bro.